What day is it? You know what? Doesn't matter. Let's just focus on the video. But before we get into that, I just wanted to mention um, it's ironic because the story that I'm about to share is about me sleeping for over 18 hours, but it happened a couple days ago. So, as I'm recording this a few days later, it just so happens that last night was a very bad night. My friend ended up coming to visit me for a couple hours yesterday. So by the time he left, it was maybe 8 o'clock. And I'm like, you know what? Haven't spoken to my wife all day except through text messages. So let me just give her a quick call. That way we can, talk before I go to bed. We ended up talking for a few hours. So by the time I went to bed, it was past 10 o'clock. And, just to give you an idea, I usually go to bed around 7, 8 at the latest. So 10 is definitely late for me currently. So unfortunately, had some breathing issues. So I had to go through the whole process of, let's start half seated and then slowly work our way down until my body slowly relaxes and the breathing gets a little better enough that I'm able to sleep. And usually that works. Unfortunately, this time I quickly realized, crap, I stayed up too long. I'm not really tired. Plus, I'm hungry. Which seems like a good thing because at this point I very, very rarely experience hunger. Unfortunately, when you're trying to sleep, it's not the best moment. But I'm like, all right, there's no way I'm going to fall asleep. I skipped dinner because of my friend coming over and me speaking to my wife longer than expected. So it's like, all right, it's definitely going to be good for me to eat. So let me just, you know, get out of bed, get dressed, go make some food, eat, watch a little TV, and then go back to bed. So that's what I ended up doing. By the time I went back to bed, it was around midnight, 12:30, something like that. And of course, still had breathing issues, so I had to go through that whole process again of start half seated, then slowly work your way down until your body relaxes, the breathing gets a little better, and you're able to fall asleep. Eventually, I fell asleep, took a while, but unfortunately, I did not stay asleep for very long. Woke up shortly after, and once again had breathing issues, so had to go back to a seated position and go through that whole process again, only to wake up shortly later, and pretty much I kept going through that entire cycle all night long. So this morning I'm feeling pretty exhausted, and I just thought it was ironic that I'm sharing a story of sleeping for over 18 hours, yet here I am recording this feeling completely exhausted as a result of lack of sleep. I just thought it was ironic, so I wanted to share that. But anyway, that's not really the point of the story. So the story itself happened on the, let me think, because there's a lot of things that happened in the last few days. So let me kind of quickly walk you through it. So on Sunday after dinner, started coughing up a bunch of blood, went to the ER. So from the night of Sunday to Monday, spent the entire night in the emergency room, ended up sleeping maybe an hour if I'm lucky. And then on Monday morning, I had an appointment for 2 blood tests and an appointment with my oncologist where I found out, hey, some of the tumors in your lungs have grown and it's also traveled to your liver. So you now have tumors in your liver. As a result of that, we're going to go ahead and start a new treatment next month or, given the case, next year. And then go from there. And then after I was done all those appointments, headed back home. And back then I'm completely exhausted, wiped out. So I'm like, all right, here's the plan. Let me go to bed right now, sleep the rest of the day, sleep all night long, and hopefully be able to recover from everything I've been through in the last couple of days. So by the time I went to bed, it was around 11:30 a.m. on Monday morning. So unsurprisingly, fell asleep very, very quickly. Also unsurprisingly, it took me a good 5, maybe 6 hours before I wake up, which for me at this point is very rare. I usually wake up every couple hours throughout the night. That's pretty much the new norm for me at this point. So the fact that I just slept, 5 to 6 hours is an indication of just how exhausted I was. So by the time I woke up, it was maybe like 5, 6 p.m. And by then, it was dark. So I'm like, all right, cool. Turn over, go back to sleep. But I'm like, I kind of feel like a little, not really pain, but discomfort in my leg. And I'm like, sometimes when I'm trying to sleep, especially if I change position, it's like it puts pressure on the leg, especially on the tumor. Sometimes it can cause like pain, not like really intense, but just enough that it's like a little difficult to sleep. So I'm like, you know what? Since I am trying to sleep for an extended period of time, there is a little pain. Let me just take one of the pain pills that the doctor prescribed when I have leg pain or more intense pain that Tylenol doesn't work. And the reason why I took that is because, well, one, I want to make sure that the pain's not an issue. And two, the side effect of that is it makes me drowsy and causes me to more easily sleep and have a deeper sleep. So I'm like, I definitely need that. Let's take a pill and go back to sleep. So I did that, waited a bit for the pill to take effect, fell back asleep, and I was out like a log. Next time I woke up, boom, 7 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, whoa, okay. I slept like 19 hours, almost 20. Like, whoa, okay. I'm a little hungry, but surprisingly, I'm still tired. So, cool, let's take advantage of it and keep sleeping. So, roll over, go back to sleep, sleep for a couple more hours. Next time I wake up, it's 10. And I'm like, whoa, at this point, it's been almost 24 hours. I almost slept for. Wait, why is it still dark? And my mind was like confused for a couple of seconds. I'm trying to figure it out. And it's not until I reach for my phone and look at it and I'm like, oh, wait, it's 10 p.m., not 10 a.m. So it's still Monday night. And I just like completely lost track of time. It just felt like after I took the pill, I just like zonked out and was out all night. But it's like, nah, it was just a couple hours. And it was so funny. Like in the moment, it was very confusing. Those few seconds where I was trying to figure out, like, wait, why is it still dark at 10 a.m.? Like, what happened to the sun? I don't get it. It kind of reminded me of when I, passed out on the subway and had seizures and I woke up and the paramedics were asking me questions. Like I'm trying to remember, but it's just like a cloud of confusion and I can't seem to find the answers. It was kind of like that. It reminded me of that. Of course, it only lasted a few seconds. But yeah, I was just like, okay, wow, I was not expecting that. So after figuring that out, at that point, it's 10 p.m. and I'm like, all right, I'm definitely gonna keep sleeping, but I'm actually really hungry because, at that point, in the last, I don't know, 24 hours, 36 hours, not really sure. Point is, I barely had any food. All I had was those 2 eggs, toast, and mini salad at the hospital before my appointments. So I'm pretty much starving, and at this point, as I mentioned, don't really have any appetite, so I always try to take advantage when I do have hunger. But I'm like, it's 10 p.m. I'm tired, I need to sleep. I don't want to like turn on the lights and then prepare a big meal and everything that's just gonna wake me up and then it's gonna be harder for me to go back to sleep. So, just got out of bed, fully naked, completely in the dark, go to the kitchen, open the fridge, like try not to be blinded by the light, like fumble around, grab a block of cheese, like break off a piece because I'm too lazy to go grab a knife, put it back, close the door, and as my eyes adjust back to the darkness, go to the opposite end of the kitchen, fumble around, grab what feels like an apple, and then go back to bed and start eating in bed. And it was the most delicious thing I've eaten in what feels like a very, very long time. Potentially 18 months since I was diagnosed. So yeah, it was delicious. The only downside is a few days ago I prepared something that had vegetarian sausage in it, and I had a couple left over, and I'm like, well, I'm too lazy. I don't want to grab a separate Ziploc bag for that. Let me just put it in the same Ziploc bag in which I keep my cheese. So it turns out that the cheese had an odor of uncooked vegetarian sausage, which isn't really that gross, but it's like, when you're eating an apple, doesn't really go with it. Luckily, it didn't taste like it, but the smell was like pronounced enough that as I'm eating it, I can kind of like smell the sausage, and it was a little weird. But it's like I still enjoyed it so much. That was like the most delicious, well, it's not really a meal, but most delicious snack I've had in a very, very long time. So once I'm done, grab a couple of Kleenexes, wrap the apple core in it so it doesn't, like make stains on the nightstand. Just like drop it, turn over, go back to sleep. And, I did wake up a couple times throughout the night, but it was mostly just like sleep. And the thing is, like, sometimes when I wake up during the night, it's like, oh, I wake up, oh, I gotta pee, so I go to the bathroom, and that kind of wakes me up. Sometimes it's like, oh, I have breathing issues, so I need to, like, adjust my position, elevate myself a bit. But this time it's like, wake up, it's like, do I need to, nah, not that bad, I don't really need to go to the bathroom, let's just turn over and fall asleep. So it was a very, very restful night. Ended up waking around 6:30 the next morning, and I did check my phone to be sure, like, all right, is it actually Tuesday morning or am I confused again? It was Tuesday morning, and I did share that story with my sister and a couple of friends, and two of them confirmed, by the way, don't worry, it is Tuesday morning. You're good. So yeah, I just thought it was a very kind of amusing story. It felt worth sharing, and I still find it funny, like in that moment of confusion of like me convinced that it's 10 a.m. and trying to figure out why it's still pitch black at 10 a.m. and not being able to figure it out. And then that moment where I realized, oh wait, it's still Monday night. I just find that so funny. So I wanted to share that because I know the last two videos have been kind of intense. And the next one is not necessarily as intense, but also, more serious. So just thought I'd kind of throw this one in between. Plus, I'm trying to work my way chronologically through everything that happened recently, which is why, the events that I just discussed happened between Monday during the day and Tuesday night, and now it's Thursday as I'm recording this. So it's taken me a while to kind of like catch up, and I'm still not fully caught up, but I'm working my way through chronologically because I want to accurately share everything that happened. So hopefully that story was entertaining. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll check back in with you in the next video.